Hi there, Malcolm here with my 161st Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing my 10 worst reads of 2022. Now before you start accusing me of being a negative Nelly, I have already done a best 10 reads, so go check out that to see that I am indeed a positive person. But I read 100 books, there's going to be 10 of those that I didn't like as much as the other 90. Here they are. Now, like with my top 10, the order of these are somewhat arbitrary. They can be mixed and matched to a certain degree. Again, the top few are ones I genuinely didn't like very much at all, whereas the rest, it wasn't that I didn't like them, I just didn't like them as much as the other 90 books I read, or they were disappointing in some way. So not awful or bad, it's just they could have been better for me. So in 10th place is The Short Victorious War, Honor Harrington Book 3. These are by David Webber. I really enjoyed Book 1, which I read twice, and then I read Book 2, which was also really good. Thought, fantastic, this is going really well. Book 3 I picked up at the same time as Book 1, so about 20 years I've had this copy. Finally got to read it, and it was just meh, nothing happened. Nothing happened for so much of it that it was just a case of, why does this book even exist? It's just a whole load of nothing. So yeah, disappointed. It was readable. The characters still felt true to who they're supposed to be, which is they didn't do anything. I mean, yes, there was a short Victorious War, as the title suggests, which was right near the end and literally took about a page and a half to cover, and then that was it. I was like, well, what's the point? In 9th place is Star Wars Knight Errant Book 3 Escape. Book 1 was rubbish. Book 2 was really good. But I picked up Book 3 quite recently. I thought, oh great, let's see where this goes. It doesn't really go anywhere. There is stuff that happens in it. It's not like nothing happens, but it's really muddled, it's really jumbled. It feels like scenes are completely skipped over. I didn't feel like it flowed particularly well. I must say, it was alright, just a bit disappointing. In 8th place is The Castle Furor Emerald, Adventures of Tintin by Hergé. This was the least adventure-y adventure that Tintin's ever had. They don't leave the mansion, really, and this bloody woman turns up and loses her jewels. So that's it. There's no great baddie, there's no anything really. I mean, the only thing it really has going for this is the fact that one of Captain Haddock's stairs is broken and everyone keeps falling down them as a running gag, but apart from that, it didn't do anything really. Another book of nothing. In 7th place was Fun House, a point horror book by Diane Ho. A sort of a murder mystery revenge type story, which was okay for most of it. You know, I was intrigued, it was interesting, characters were all right. But then the big reveal happened and I was just like, what? Really? No. It was just so ridiculous, it took me out the story entirely. Yeah. It could have been almost anything farther than what it was, to be honest. So that's why it's on the list here. In 6th place is Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. One of those 100 books you must read before you die type books. Not very intrigued. I saw the film was out. I went past the billboard every day going to work. Never saw it though. So I managed to borrow stuff from my dad. I went to my wife, because she was curious about it as well, so we both enjoyed the story, and it was okay. As a sci-fi story, it was okay. Is it one of those 100 books you must read before you die? No, not at all. I've read far better. Now, go read The Forever War by Joe Haldeman. Go read Starship Troopers by Robert Heinlein. Go read Bill the Galactic Hero by Harry Harrison. You know, they all deal with the fruitlessness and stupidity of war at a far better and deeper level than Orson Scott Card. I mean, there's some good ideas in it, and there were some things I did like, and like I said, it read okay. They're calling the enemy buggers was a bit of a bizarre thing for really, but there we go. But yeah, it was just disappointing again. I didn't hate it, it was just meh. In 5th place was Buffy the Vampire Slayer The Origin. The last one on the series I didn't actually hate, I was just disappointed by it. Basically, it's a film as a graphic novel. The film wasn't great, so, you know, the material it had to work with was somewhat limited. It was okay. Having not seen the film, I was curious to know what was in it, and I now know, and to be honest, whatever. Right, so into the top 3, the bad ones. In 4th place is Skyward Inn by Alia Whiteley. My wife gave this to me, so I really wanted to like it. And it was interesting up to a point, and then there were some decisions made, and the ending, but then it turned out to be a plot that I'd seen before, but written much better and much more interestingly. And the ending completely ruined it for me. And so some real dumb choices that made no sense, and it's going to be much better. I was just dreadfully disappointed with it, to be honest. In 3rd place, Asterix vs. Caesar. Now, on the back of all the Asterix books are all the other books you can get in the series up to a point, and I was always intrigued by this one, which I never had, Asterix vs. Caesar. Found it in a charity shop, thought, great, I'll pick it up. It's the novelisation of the film, which I haven't seen, which was a poor blending of Asterix the Ghoul and Asterix the Gladiator. Anything that was good in here was already good in those books, but it was put out of context, so the jokes weren't as funny. The artwork was just lazy screenshots from the film, and the narration was told from the various characters, just telling you how it went, and it was just really lazily done. I don't know how well the film did. I gather that wasn't brilliant either, but yeah, the barest effort went into making that. In second place, A Map of Days by Ransom Riggs. This is book 4 of the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I really enjoyed the first book. Books 2 and 3 were alright. They continued the story really nicely. So a new trilogy was started off with A Map of Days. It was a road trip which was badly thought out and achieved not a huge amount, but kick off the next 2 books. Now, it's very much a book that exists purely for the next 2 books to exist, I think. And because of that reason, I'm not interested in reading them. So it's kind of killed the series dead. I'm going to give a whole lot away now, which is a shame. I can't see me reading them again, because as much as I enjoyed how the photos tied in with the story, I think Ransom Riggs did a really good job with the first book particularly. Books 2 and 3 as well to a degree, but this one, it was a bit of a stretch in some of them, and to be honest, it didn't grip me nearly as much. Stop at the original trilogy is my advice. And for me, the numero uno bad boy was Reprieve by James Hahn Matson. I picked up the funky Waterstones cover with the sprayed bloody edges. This looked like a really good escape room story that goes horribly wrong with murder and mayhem, and turns out to be extraordinarily boring, with a bunch of characters that you don't care about, apart from one who's not even involved in any of it, and you wonder why she's even there. It just goes nowhere for ages. I just didn't care about any of the characters, any of the story. It was told back to front, which was fine. I don't mind that type of story, but any intrigue that could be gained from doing so wasn't. And when the truth came to light, it was a case of fine, whatever. And the ending was just stupid. I absolutely hated this book. Really disappointed with it. And I felt really bad because I gave a copy of it to a friend, but she really liked it, so that's alright. It works for her. It just didn't work for me. So there we go. Those are my top 10 worst books of the year. And as usual, the disclaimer I need to put out there is if you like these books, this is an attack on you. You're allowed to like these books. I'm allowed to not like these books. Actually, I think I like most of them. It's just they didn't like them as much as others. You know, it's disappointed. It's just those top 3. Yeah. Kind of did it for me, really. But there you go. Are any of those books on your worst 10 books of the year? Or are they on your best? I mean, you know, you're allowed to like what you like. No reflection on you for that. Otherwise, what were your worst 10 books of the year? I'm sure something I like is probably on there. That's why we're all different. Yay! So comments below, please. But as usual, if you have nothing nice to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Go check out my best 10 books of the year. But otherwise, see you later.